this life that we're all going through. Then when she said she'd wreck my car, I didn't know what to do. Ah, sick of this life, not that you care. I'm not the only one with whom these feelings I share. Nobody understands quite why we're here, looking for answers that never appear. Maybe if I looked real hard, I'd see you trying to understand this life that we're all going through. Then when she said she'd wreck my car, I didn't know what to do. Ooh, sick of this life, not that you care. I forgot the words. Anyway, welcome to another episode of The Apocalypse. I'm Nicholas, your humble guide. You have chosen the apocalypse. Therefore, you are in desperate need of a guide. I'm your guide. I'm sorry you weren't given a better one, but I'm what you're stuck with. I'm what you get. During the apocalypse, I'm all that's available. Death. Literal death. That's all that's available. Sorry. That's because that's what you've chosen. Unfortunately for all of us. Now, there is so much to get to. I don't even know where to begin. The amount of abominations per day is astounding. But let's start with this. The Trump administration has offered roughly 2 million government employees. Yeah, you heard me right. That number is 2 million. That's a reasonable number, right? To get rid of it once without real scrutiny, without really studying the ramifications of it. You know, like when they just, with a wave of a pen, or excuse me, a stroke of a pen, Donnie just said, freeze all federal monies. Fuck those people on welfare, Medicaid, all that unemployment. Fuck them. Then you find out the real ramifications once governors start going on television and saying, yeah, we have no money for our programs, and you said we would have money for things like Medicaid at least. You fucking liars. Anyway, they're offering 2 million government employees the option to resign by February 6th and keep being paid until September 30th, a move that could significantly reduce the federal workforce. You think 2 million people all at once? What if they all just tomorrow just didn't go to work? I bet things would run just as smooth as Tesla after all those people got fired. and as smooth as Twitter after all those people got fired. Because, it's real easy to come in an established institution that's been around for years and fire everybody. It doesn't take genius vision. It just takes a guy who was born rich and thinks he's a god of some sort. That's all. No talent. You don't have to be special. All that's required is your daddy just has to be rich. That's all. So, I don't know. What do you think of 2 million federal workers? What if they just all decided, yeah, okay, we'll take the deal. We're gone February 6th. Do you think Donnie and the boys are just going to have it handled? And you're going to get all your checks and all the different things you're supposed to get? Nope. You saw what happened the other day. People woke up, Medicaid gone, everything's gone. But I know it's just politics as usual. Right, Rubes? So yes, 2 million employees, and you can keep getting paid till September 30th. That means they really want you gone. Sounds legitimate, right? I mean, we've had all kind of presidents that just come in and fire 2 million people at once, right? No. It's utterly, completely out of the ordinary. And it makes no damn sense unless they just trying to get the biggest pile of money up and split it up amongst themselves. And they don't care about what happens to all of us. That's called looting the country. There's no other explanation for this. I'm sorry. So I wonder how many government workers are going to take the deal. Here's a screenshot of this new Caroline Leavitt wannabe Nazi Barbie, who I found out today was like 27 years old. I thought she was like 45, and I'm dead serious. When I was looking for something about her today, and it came up on my feed. Someone was commenting on her personal life that she's married to a 60-year-old man, and she's 27. I was like, 27? I thought the bitch was 43, and I'm dead serious. Anyway, so she's 27. She's with a 59-year-old man. Whatever, that's her life. I could fucking care less about that. What I do care about is people making community notes disappear because this woman lied. The White House lied, and Leon wants to cover it up for them. So what the lie was about condoms going to Gaza. I knew the second I heard, oh, that's one of them right-wing, we just make the shit up. I knew it before I even looked into it. Because I know the patterns of people like Project Veritas and Alex Jones and the right-wing grift/terror machine. They will throw some abject bullshit out there like that, and the Rubes just eat it up. The second I hear it, I know if I do 0.3 seconds of research, I will find out what they are saying is a complete and total lie. It sounds fucking ridiculous. So let's get the community note that Leon took away. Underneath Miss Leavitt's press conference photo, a USAID report confirms that none of the 60.8 million in US-funded contraceptives last year went to Gaza. In fact, no condoms were sent anywhere in the Middle East. Just one shipment, $45,000 worth oral and injectable contraceptives went to the region. All of it distributed to Jordan. So the thing's completely made up. No condoms went to fucking anybody. It's just like Pizzagate, man. I knew it was bullshit from second one. I watched grifter after grifter, liar after liar, make bank on that. And guess what? I stopped watching every single channel that dared endorse Pizzagate for 3 fucking seconds. Because that told me, you dishonest, son. And you willing to jump on anything to make money. That's all that told me. And you're doing damage to your country. Look where we're at right now. And guess what, Rubes? It might seem all fun right now, but you don't know what I know, little children. You don't know the bloody horrors that are coming. You'll see. So yeah, Miss Levitt was just up there lying about condoms going to Gaza, and I knew the second I heard it, there wasn't any condoms going to Gaza. That's just another ridiculous grasping at any damn straw, even if the straw don't exist, by the right-wing grift / terror machine. Trump press secretary hid over $300,000 in debt tied to inappropriate donations. Oh my God, I'm shocked. A right-wing politician that's fucking crooked as shit? Oh no. I had no idea. I mean, 83% of them are taking Russian money, so they'll sell out their country, they'll sell out their grandma, whatever they got to do to maintain power and authority. So this isn't very shocking that we didn't have to dig very deep to find the literal inappropriate donation activity going on. Kind of like Wayne LaPierre, remember him? Head of the NRA for years. As you, Rube, sent your money in, you know what Wayne did with it? He took $1 million salary from your donations, and then he took more of your donations and went and bought like $20,000 suits and all kinds of stuff, because his $1 million salary, he didn't want to touch that to buy suits. He wanted more of your money to buy $20,000 suits. That's why the NRA is a joke now. It's all broken the fuck up, bankrupt, because they just took your donations. They grifted you, man. That's simple. While Wayne was jet setting on your money, buying suits you could never afford if you saved up for 20 years. And he didn't even want to touch his salary that you were already giving him. These are the types of people you talk up every day. And they could care fucking less about you. Bannon and Colfage, build a wall, right, Rubes? They pocketed all the fucking money. Mr. Colfage and Mr. Bannon. Again and again, you fall for these scams and you talk this shit up because you just can't let the brainwashing go. You can't let the team mentality go. But again, this isn't a warning video. It's too late for warnings. This is a guide you through it for the people that care. And maybe a rube or two will see the error of their ways. I don't know. So here we go, 300,000 in inappropriate donations for, wannabe propaganda Barbie. And Barbie's way better looking than this woman. So I'm doing Barbie an injustice. But, she's the blonde, typical Aryan type looking woman that the Nazi regime that we have now really likes. Fox News really likes. And there's nothing wrong with a blonde, blue-eyed, Aryan-looking woman. But the problem is this movement has a problem with the way everybody else looks. That's the fucking problem. There's another woman I'm going to show you that has a very similar look, who got a very important position, who couldn't spell the position, but we'll get to that. That's MAGA, baby. I can't spell it, but I'll take the job. What's that mean? You're utterly unqualified. That's what that means. What? Your press correspondent? Is that 1 R or 2? I gotta put this on the social medias. I want everybody to know about it. It's the biggest moment of my life. I get to work for Trump, the adjudicated liar, defamer, adjudicated fraud. Let me stop there. California Secretary of State Shirley Weber has approved a campaign to gather signatures petitioning for a vote on whether California should leave the U.S. and become an independent country. Yes, California has the economy to be a country on its own very easily. California and New York bring in the most money, make the most money, contribute the most money to federal government. For all you red welfare states that can't function on your own, thank California and New York for your existence in the state that it is. Instead of hating on them, you should be thanking them and hoping they do real well, because if they don't do well, guess what, Rubes? You don't do well. So let's just talk about this for a moment. What would happen if California seceded, like Texas has been talking about doing for years? Texas, it wouldn't even matter. But California gives more money to the government than they take in. Gives more money to the government than they take back in welfare and aid and help, because they have a real economy. They make real money there, like New York. So if they were to leave the union here, about 20 red states would go bankrupt in 5 minutes. That's what would happen. And there'd be a lot less money circulating through this country via that state. It would be real bad. Texas, mostly fucking desert. And they don't make the kind of money that California does, not even close. So, again, secession is ridiculous on either side. I'm not advocating for it. People are trying to come up with ideas to protect themselves, obviously, because everybody knows what this is, what's about to happen, that's paying attention. So that would be the damage done for all the rubes and Russian trolls and bots, AI bots for Leon and all that shit, that come there and say, yeah, just fuck them, let them secede. Well, that means your welfare check might not clear. Your whatever card, your EBT card, if you live in Arkansas or Oklahoma or Iowa or the Dakotas, states that make no fucking money, regardless of their political leaning. I could care less. It's about how much you bring in, son. California and New York bring the money in. It gets distributed to all the red welfare states. They contribute more than they take. The red welfare states do not. That's simple. So secession, in my opinion, is ridiculous on either side. But we about to be a dictatorship. So California, in my opinion, it's the first time in the history of this nation that has a legit argument. This ain't about slavery or the economy. This is about, they can see a dictatorship coming. That's the first legitimate state that ever had a legitimate concern, let's put it that way. No one was ever going to hurt Texas. That's a joke. They're just fine down there. But people do want to hurt California, and that's obvious. And it's obvious we about to be a dictatorship. That's simple. I don't want to debate it with anyone. You're going to watch it happen. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to agree with it. Even if you're being paid or you're a foreign operative, troll, whatever you are. It doesn't matter if you believe me. It doesn't matter what side you're on. It's still coming to your door. Yes, you, the PR firm troll, the foreign operative troll. It's coming to your doorstep. I'm talking to you right now. You're not exempt, son. Don't matter what games you're playing online for whatever dictator you work for. Coming to your door. Praise Jesus. So a lot of red states would go bankrupt without California. So be careful what you wish for, Rubes. And I'm not suggesting they secede. I'd hate to see any state secede, honestly. We fought a war over that bullshit and slavery and the Southern economy. Today, latest lie from Trump and Musk is that the Biden administration supposedly abandoned astronauts in space, and now Trump has just ordered Musk to go get them. Yes, Trump and Leon to save the day because Biden just left them astronauts in space. I'm sorry, if I don't even need to go any further with that. If you believe that, you're a fucking idiot. It's that simple. Let's read what actually happened. NASA ultimately decided it was too risky to return Starliner with crew. The agency announced last August that it was asking SpaceX to bring Williams and Wilmore home aboard the SpaceX Crew 9 capsule. That vehicle is currently docked with the space station, where Williams and Wilmore have become official members of the ISS staff as they await their return home. NASA previously said that Crew 9 capsule will return home as soon as February, but the agency updated that timeline in December, saying that SpaceX needed more time to complete the capsule. All right, so we get the story here. It's not the story that Donnie's putting out. Just like Donnie told you he sent the military into California and turned the water on via emergency powers or martial law. Uh-oh. Completely fabricated, yet he wrote it as President of the United States because he knew a lot of the rubes go no further in their research because they don't want to. It confirms their bias when Donnie says he sent the military into evil liberal California using emergency powers for you rubes because he loves you so much. And he turned that water back on at evil Gavin Newsom as his state burned down, just has all this water on reserve that he doesn't want to use. Are you fucking kidding? Do you understand the rubery, the sickness that's going on in your mind, if you dare believe that for 1 second? Here we are again, Donnie telling a whopper that Biden didn't want to go get some astronauts in space. I mean, that's fucking ridiculous. Of course, Biden would have done anything to get astronauts back home if he could. So you got the real story I just read to you on that bullshit. Trump team is sabotaging our government. OMB nominee Russell Vought has said he wants to put career civil servants in trauma so that when they wake up in the morning, we want them to not want to go to work because they are increasingly viewed as the villains. In other words, villainize federal workers. So they don't want to come to work anymore. Why do they want so many people to quit? Why don't they just fire them? I don't know. But here's the thing. When someone says they want 2 million people gone from an institution overnight like this, that tells me it's a grift. I'm sorry. They ain't worried about spending. Donnie wanted to raise the debt ceiling to infinity before he took the presidency or right after. Infinity, son. Conservatives never cared about spending, and you all know this. Yet you parrot the talking points. And this conservative, in quotes, Donnie Shitbags, he wants it all, man. He wanted the debt ceiling again to infinity because when he's Caesar, he wants to have unlimited spending power. On your dime. That's your money, son. But I know as long as Donnie's spending it, having Secret Service and the whole entourage stay at his own hotels so the money goes in his pocket. I know you're cool with that, right? You'd be cool with that if Obama was doing it, right? Or Biden or Clinton. They were going to their own hotel and golf courses, charging you for it to have, 30, 40 Secret Service and all that entails. Get rooms on your dime. You'd be cool with Obama doing that, right? And Clinton. Of course you would. because you're also fair-minded like that. So yes, villainize the federal workforce. They can privatize it, give contracts, or they can just divvy up whatever money's sitting around for those agencies amongst themselves. Whatever they want to do. Either way, they're enriching themselves. This person posted a map. Each state's biggest export trading partner. A map of the U.S. and it's in different colors. The purple is Canada. So when you look at the map, you see the majority of the map is purple. All of those states, their main trading partner, Canada. So maybe we shouldn't fuck with Canada, huh? Seems like a lot of you that have businesses out there are doing business with Canada. So you wouldn't want to get in a war with them or something, right? Then your businesses fucking go under. Anyway, it just makes the point that the United States is reliant on Canada. We can't just tell them to go fuck themselves because we need them. This country's too big and built up to function without Canada. Here's another January 6th prisoner who got pardoned, but they have to stay in jail, I believe, because they committed another crime, a sex offense. They're on the sex offender registry. And there's a reason I'm telling you this. I'm not going to show you his picture, but I'm going to point these out from time to time. All the different J6 people that have been released that are horrible criminals on top of the J6 stuff. And that's one guy. I told you about two people yesterday. I'm not even going to go into his name, but I just want to keep like a tally. I found about 4 or 5 so far, just recently. Anyway, this is one of the, when they go to the portal, I guess you would call it, the federal workforce, to find out about what offers are available to them to leave their positions. This is one of the things. Why am I being offered deferred resignation? Deferred resignation? Kind of grift term is that? The federal workforce is expected to undergo significant near-term changes. As a result of these changes, or for other reasons, you may wish to depart the federal government on terms that provide you with sufficient time and economic security to plan your future and have a nice vacation. Yeah, it's just a nice vacation, taking a severance and worrying about where the fuck am I going to work now? Because we all know what it's like to try and get a job. No one wants to give you 40 hours. No one wants to give you salary. No one wants to give you benefits. They want to contract you. I mean, just no one wants to do nothing. They want to run it all bare bones. Every institution has a bunch of employees with a friend, a cousin, an uncle, a father, a mother, a little brother that they recommend for the job. And that's how most people get their jobs. I've been through the workforce 20 fucking years. I know how it works. And now it's even harder. Most places do not want you to walk the fuck in there. They want you filling out shit online. When you fill out shit online, it's like shooting an arrow up into the sky and hoping you hit something. When you look online for work, 75% of the jobs don't even exist that you're looking at. When you start filling out applications, throwing resumes out there on the various work websites, work search websites, what do you get? spam, calls, emails, all kinds of shit from companies that want to scam you to buying schooling off them when you're looking for fucking work. In other words, son, in America, they even made looking for a job a scam, a grift on you. It's incredible. Buying a car is a grift. They're trying to scam you. Going to the mechanic's a grift. They're trying to scam you. Buying a house is a grift. They're trying to scam you. Sending your kid to school is a fucking grift. Costs like $1 million fucking dollars per child now. To go to any decent school. I'm not even talking about Harvard, man. Forget about that shit. If you had to pay for it. Every aspect of life is a fucking grift now. You got to watch out for the hustle. Every aspect of fucking life. It's disgusting. Even these federal workers going to work, they're getting shit like this. They got to work under the pressure of, what's the fucking Antichrist going to do today? How many of us is he just going to willy-nilly fire like Leon does? Because Leon's helping make the decision. Two bloated, fat, disgusting, ugly, greasy, old daddy's boys, born filthy, fucking rich, shouldn't be making decisions for nobody. They ain't had no hardship in life, son. They jokes. They soft. Without they daddy's money, they would have been nothing. Would have been used car salesmen. Would have been Luigi trying to get a startup going. Like whatever dickhead oligarch he was watching that molded him into that. I want to be like Leon. Even though I'm a smart kid, I went to a good school. Now I want to do a startup. I want to be management. Day one, baby. Even though I don't know jack fucking shit. Have no idea what the real world's like. You go right from your mommy and daddy's bubble right to CEO, right, kids? That's the mentality. That's Luigi's mentality. So he figured if I can't be Leon and be famous and be big time for that with my startup, well, I'll try and be famous for something else. Anyway, here's Kash Patel. If you didn't think he was a sociopath before with one look at him, because he exudes sociopath. He's standing at I don't know, some fucking medieval setup. There's a catapult. There's a castle in the background. Look at the smile on his face. He's so happy in his sociopathy. He's holding a watermelon with Adam Schiff's face on it. Wow, man, this is impressive stuff. If you're 13, if you're into shit like that, you know, when you're like a young teenager. For us adults that want to see shit get done, that aren't rubes in government, yeah, we don't find this funny. We don't find it interesting. We don't find it cool. We don't find it manly. We don't find it macho. You don't want, I can't use the word I would describe for what I find this. So he's standing next to a catapult. So, of course, the sociopath, who's about to be FBI director, God help us all, has a watermelon with Adam Schiff's face. So I guess he's insinuating, I'm going to put this in the catapult and launch it. Wow. That's fascinating. This guy's not a sociopath at all. Well done, Rubes. Well bloody done. When WWF is the ruling reason in your life, you lose your country and you end up with sociopaths like Kash Patel. Death needs a cigarette. My apologies. My mouth is very cottony, and it's hard to move my tongue. So I'm sorry if it sounds like I have a lisp. I'm struggling to move it. It's probably like fatigue or something. Even though I've rinsed it with Listerine, I'm drinking water. It's just the cottony is not going away. Forgive me. I'm not used to this plane of existence. All right, let's go to the next thing. Intelligence officials are starting to leak to me now too. This is Ken Klippenstein, and sometimes I like these guys and sometimes I don't. There's things about them, but they do seem to grab stuff, interesting things sometimes. Here's a memo Defense Intelligence Agency personnel received instructing them to suspend observances, including Holocaust Remembrance Day, MLK Day, and Juneteenth. Well, what do those have in common? Well, those are minority holidays for Jewish people and African Americans. Why would they target those? And I thought they loved Israel and loved the Jews. Why would you want to suspend observance of Holocaust Remembrance Day? I don't know, maybe what I've been saying for many years, and a few others, that this person, this beast, is a danger to the Jews, and his movement is a danger to the Jews, despite Netanyahu working with him and seeing him as some type of messiah. Holocaust Remembrance Day, you say? What else is on here? For January, they got all the months listed. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Martin Luther King Jr., Black History Month, Women's History Month, Holocaust Day, Days of Remembrance, Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, Pride, Juneteenth, Women's Equality Day, National Hispanic Heritage Month, National Disability Employment Awareness Month. Damn, for the disabled too. I mean, this is pure Nazi. They even got the disabled on there, son. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? Because Hitler liked to get rid of those people too. Anyone that wasn't perfect and Aryan, he didn't want to see them. He didn't want them existing in his country. All these people that are on this list, literally, exactly. I didn't read this earlier. I didn't read the actual document. National American Indian Heritage Month. DIA will pause all activities and events related to agency special emphasis programs effective immediately and until further notice. Additionally, special observances hosted throughout the year by the command element, directorates, and special offices are also paused. These include observances related to the following, what I just read you. So those holidays, those observances, and something just occurred to me while I read this. These are the ones they want stopped, specifically paused, if you will, just like the federal spending pause. Yeah, every group you can possibly think of pretty much is on here, except white male, straight European. Holy fucking shit, man. Again, I hadn't read this yet. I just read the presentation that Klippenstein gave for this document. He has the actual document, a photo of it right here. I gotta go over this again. Martin Luther King Jr. birthday, Black History Month, Women's History Month, Holocaust Day, Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, Pride, Juneteenth, Women's Equality Day, women even on there, son. Half the population of the planet. Damn, this a beast. If this list don't make you realize that this a beast, son, I don't know what motherfucking will. Holy fucking shit. Anyone that's not white, male, straight. Man, that don't leave much. That don't leave much that's not excluded, is what I mean. This is way worse than I thought. This isn't a bit of a Nazi movement. It's a literal Nazi movement, like hardcore. Observances. There's a thing in scripture. And he will change the feast days. This beast seems to have a thing about observances, what is taught. He seems to have a thing about images. Him and his wife put out a token you can buy, which is not an investment if you read the disclaimer. It's a collectible that you buy that reflects the image and values of Melania or Trump coin. The brand and the person. An image that represents a person. It also says when you buy this, you are supporting and agreeing with, or there's probably a better word for that, the values of the brand putting out the coin. Literally says this. I wonder if in the future there's going to be a similar disclaimer or something you need to sign that says something like that. Also, the image that will be worshipped and have life and be able to speak. Right now, for several years at least, I've noticed online. Since Leon came on the scene, I really noticed it. But it's been around for a while. AI bots released in someone's image with pre-programmed responses, which can, make you think they're human for a second. If you don't know the game. What did Zuckerberg say? I explained it to you in a video after Mr. Miller gave him his marching orders. He came out and he said creators, people online, institutions, etc. will have AI bots that will go out into the Ethernet with made in the image of whoever deployed them. That person can sit back, those bots can go out all over the internet and handle anything said about that person, handle their image. The AI is made in their image. Leon already has one. Everyone knows this. It's not a secret. Leon isn't keeping it a secret. In fact, he's promoting it. That specific AI could be made in Leon's image, most likely is. Probably makes all kind of horrible comments that Leon won't say himself under fake accounts that it can make in 2 seconds. Which is pretty astounding. Again, if this platform, this internet thing wasn't shaping opinion, Vlad wouldn't waste his time on it. Leon wouldn't. Donnie wouldn't. Publicity firms, public relations firms wouldn't. Like they did with us. Publicists wouldn't waste their time. Obviously, this internet thing does shape opinion. That's why everyone's so focused on it. One more time. Zuckerberg, Leon, and others have their own AI made in their image that goes out on the internet and does what they need it to do. What's Donnie trying to do? Donnie doesn't have one of those. He doesn't have his own AI made in his image that reflects his values, that goes forth. He has Vlad's bots, Leon's bots, other people. He doesn't have his own made in his image that can speak and go forth as if it were alive. It's the only thing that can do it in our world. That can have life and speak and go out on its own. AI, that's it. Only thing. So when we wonder what the image will be, I'm not wondering anymore. They're going to make an AI in Donnie's image. I don't know what it's going to be called, but it'll be made in his image. And it will have life, and it will have the ability to speak. Just like Leon's AI does, just like Zuckerberg's AI, whatever that is. And everyone else that has one deployed out there. But Donnie didn't make his yet. That's what the 500 billion's for. And I imagine it ain't going to cost that much, and a lot of that money's going to be routed back to Donnie in some shady way. So as I've pondered this, it makes complete sense that the image would be AI. It would be made in Donnie's image. How they would make one worship that and kill you if you don't, I don't know. But that whole mark thing, one of the things about the mark, whatever it will be, however it will be deployed, whenever it will be deployed, no one knows what it'll be exactly, but you'll need it to participate in society. But there'll be some type of pledge of loyalty, I'm sure, involved with this AI, this image that's going to be put out, because that's going to have to be worshipped in some way. And I don't remember where I was going with that. My apologies. I'm very tired. Forgive me. And I started looking at this list again and got horrified. This is pure Nazi stuff, man. Every group, including women, is on here. It's frightening. I can't believe this is an actual document. every single holiday for minorities, women, anything. And he will hate the God of women. Let me move on. Trump press secretary announces that Trump will be issuing an order ending funding for public schools if they teach about history in a way he doesn't like. He doesn't like. One man deciding the curriculum in all your schools. Which we just saw the list of what what he doesn't want taught. Anything that has to do with anything that makes white European people, males especially, look bad throughout the history of this country, like slavery. That's the literal aim of this, to change the history books, just like Hitler did, just like 1984, the novel. That's all they need to change history. This movement can never be seen as a bad thing. And plus, they need to erase the part about where one political party, about 80% of it, tried to overthrow the government. Got to erase that. Got to erase the truth. That's where this is going. And it's what it really comes down to is they want to put a Nazi ideology forth. That's the end goal. I mean, obvious persecution of minorities as well, and gay people, and women. There's no other way to describe that but Nazism, I'm sorry. And white nationalism. It's horrifying, and I'm sorry, a lot of these things give me pause. One of the things I'm about to present to you, I was literally shaking when I saw it. I can't believe how fast this is moving. I can't believe how willing this press secretary is to bold-faced lie. I can't believe how they are not even hiding the agenda. They're telling schools what they can and can't teach from the top. Again, I want to read that part. In a way he doesn't like. This person's making the point, and I thought the same thing. That's why I pointed out that she wears a cross. Another cross-wearing liar for the Trump cult. And again, this is another example. All you grifters and liars that wear that symbol, first of all, it's an image, and there should be no images made to God. Nothing at all. Does this really bother me, people wearing crosses? No, I'm just explaining a biblical principle to you that a lot of people break. And they don't have to. Second, when you wear a fucking cross and present yourself as a Christian and you're trying to implement a literal Nazi agenda and you lie your ass off for a bloated orange diaper-wearing freak and you wear a cross doing that, you make God look bad, son. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's the biggest offense. Not the lies, not all that. You make the man look bad. When you cunts in the church molest a kid, you putting that on God's name, son. You making other human beings look at God as something bad because you claim to be of him or speaking for him when you're really just there to take advantage of little kids. In other words, when you do these things in the church or as part of the church, or if you wear a cross like so many of you do, and then lie, cheat, and steal your way through fucking life. You make the man look bad, son. I'd take that real motherfucking seriously if I were you. So yes, another cross-wearing liar for the Trump cult. New from Mattel, rhetorical propaganda Barbie. Yes, take another good look at her. You're going to see a lot more women like her coming up in the world. These two gentlemen, I watched the video, I put it in the community section, and people, please look at the community section. I'm spending so much time a day developing a news feed for you. I already know these things. I already know what's going to happen. That news feed is for you. 20, 30 posts a day. Figure out how to get to the community section of my page. Click on the icon, scroll over to community, whatever, and just take a quick look at those. It'll give you greater understanding. And you'll be able to follow the narrative throughout the day, the news cycle and the narrative, what they want to put out. Then you can dissect it for yourself. Sift the bullshit, the wheat from the chaff, if you will. There are people watching everything these people do right now. I'm one of them. The reason we got Eric Trump's threats the other day is because that group that put it out first, they're watching every motherfucking thing they document and everything, and so am I, as best as I can with the time I have. This isn't full time for me. I'm not asking for money, to make it full time. So I can only give, what I can give here. I still got to eat, and I'm really getting thin on that too, because I'm putting so much time into this. Because I feel the urgency of it, and I feel you need to know. Anyway, these two gentlemen are Puerto Rican. They run a Puerto Rican style restaurant. ICE or immigration people came in there giving them a hard time. Why? Because they look Latin. That's why. They wanted to go in the back and look at the kitchen. Here's what the guys look like. I put the link in the community section so you guys could see it. The gentleman with his arms crossed like that, he's an ex-police officer. So these two men got, accused of being illegal or asked, for their papers. The people asked to go in the back and see the kitchen. They said, no, unless you have a warrant to come in here, no, we're not letting you in our kitchen and go searching through our place. So they refused. The officers or whoever came to their restaurant got pissed off and basically insinuated, even though this man was a police officer and he's Puerto Rican, he's not an illegal whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. They insinuated that, you won't let us go in the kitchen because you have illegals back there. Again, these are U.S. citizens of Puerto Rican descent that, because they look Latin, got harassed. Other people have actually been taken into custody so far. This is the danger of roundups based on ethnicity. That's why I always thought it was a horrible idea. You don't campaign on rounding people up. There's another person that did that. His name was Adolf. Maybe you heard of him. Rounding people up was just his thing. And he started with one group that no one gave a fuck about, a group of foreigners in that nation. Just like here. I told the man Cortez, remember, 10 months ago before YouTube shut me down for the 97th time. Remember the man Cortez came to my live stream. And he was all down with the roundups. And I tried to explain to him, your name is Cortez, man. They could grab you because you look Latin. In other words, I was trying to make the person understand how roundups work based on how someone looks. It doesn't matter if you're legal or illegal when the gang of thugs comes around looking to round people up. If you fit the profile visually, you're a target. This is what I tried to tell Mr. Cortez, if that was even his name. That they could come grab you, son, because you look Latin. For no other reason. So many Latin people are waking up to the reality of this. I wonder if this ex-police officer voted for Trump. I don't know. He doesn't seem like he did, but you never know. So many Latin people did, and I just can't fathom why. These people have been talking about rounding up illegal immigrants, some people, immigrants seeking asylum, some with papers already. You want to round them up too? You heard all this as Latin people. And some of you said, I'm going to vote for the man? I mean, you might as well just put a target on your chest or on your back. Because you're going to see this story over and over again. You're going to see husbands that, get their wife gets supported, or wives where their husband gets, because these people didn't take the threat serious. Oh, that's just Donnie. Don't worry about that Roundup talk. He just says stuff like that. No, in the first administration, he literally, to be cruel and unusual, took children away from parents and intentionally made it so they could never see them again as a deterrent. And they were proud of it. They weren't ashamed. Anyway, just campaigning on Roundups alone is Nazi-esque and should have never been applauded. And again, it always starts with one foreign group. But I just read you the list of the real target. Anyone who's not white, European, and straight. Anyone who's not male. On top of it. Women are on that list too, and that's been obvious since Donnie came on the scene. And again, there's this very confusing passage that many people interpret many ways. One interpretation was that the Antichrist would be gay. I always wondered that myself, based on what it says. And he will hate the God of women. I don't know what the God of women is. There's Brother James has his philosophy on that. Other people have their philosophy. I have really no idea what the God of women is. But I think what it really means to say is he'll hate women. And guess what, ladies? You on the list as targets, but you should know this already with the abortion stuff. All the stuff they've targeted towards you, sent the arrows they've sent your way. There's this disdain for women there as well. It's a whole masculine energy thing. White nationalist thing. Trump administration rescinds freeze on federal grants and loans. There's a reason I'm taking this story in pieces throughout the day. I'm trying to give you the sentiment of what was going on. I woke up to this rescinding. I was like, whoa, what's this? What's the play here? Where's the grift? What am I missing? Are they being nice? They're actually giving poor people a break here? No, they just renamed the operation. They took the umbrella name away so no lawsuit, no legal action could be taken, and just made them all separate issues. But we're going to get to that. So I woke up to the rescinding on the pause on all federal monies. We saw the clusterfucking chaos that caused yesterday. Now it's rescinded the next morning after a court says, we're putting a stay on your pause. So they rescinded it to change the name, and we're getting there. And here's the actual memo that they put out rescinding it. It's like a whole 3 sentences. And then this happened. Carolyn Levitt again, wannabe propaganda Barbie. This is not a rescission of the federal funding freeze. It is simply a rescission of the OMB memo. So in other words, we still want the action taken. We just took the memo and the title away, so we can make that lawsuit go away. Why? To end any confusion created by the court's injunction. Yeah, confusion, right. The president's executive orders on federal funding remain in full force and effect and will be rigorously implemented. Okay, so she's basically saying, yeah, we just took the name away, we're calling it something else. So there's the grift, there's the angle, there's the play that I missed. Because I'm not an evil, scheming demon like these people. I couldn't see the angle. Well, they had some lawyer look at it, and some lawyer came into the room and said, you know how we can do this? Take the umbrella name away. We'll keep them as all separate issues. The court case goes away. There's nothing to put a stay on. There's no program to put a stay on. They're all individual orders. That's the scheme. That's the grift that I missed. Because there's about 1,000 grifts a day. So, propaganda Barbie said, oh no, the program is still going to happen, guys. Did you think we were going to be nice to the poor? I'm here to let you know we are not being nice to the poor. What is this? Oh, this is another community note on Leon. Remember the video game thing yesterday, and this is one of many. Leon's been community noted on his own website many times, and that's how we get the truth on Twitter. People write community notes, and the website decides whether to publish them, delete them, or whatever they want to do. And Leon deletes them all the time if he doesn't like them. So Leon was boasting of the throughout in the Vegas tunnels is already better than an average subway, by the way. It's a myth that subways are super efficient. Well, the community note says, this is objectively false. Subways have more than 10 times the capacity of a road for cars. The average capacity of a single roadway is typically 2,000 passengers per hour, while the average capacity of a subway line is closer to 50,000 passengers per hour. So Leon just wrong again, Leon. Community noted, fact-checked, called a moron on his own website by a function of his own website. This is anonymous. MAGA is a terrorist movement. The rest of the world should treat it as such. And yes, we should have treated it as such once Donnie decided it was cool to have a mob come try and overthrow our government. That's when it should have became a terrorist thing. And Donnie should have been locked up, like South Korean Trump, like Menendez is about to be locked up. Many senators and congressmen should have been locked up. Some cabinet members should have been locked up. Mr. Miller, who wrote that memo for that day, should have been locked up. But we didn't, and here we are in the apocalypse. Sorry, guys. I agree totally with that sentiment. Only after January 6th. That's when they gave us justification as a country to consider them a terrorist movement. Now I consider them a Nazi movement. Literally, utterly, totally, completely. Not a little bit, not kind of, totally. And there's more to support that argument. Despite the fact that they hate every observance of any holiday or any subject that doesn't have to do with white, male, straight Europeans. Even if you're a woman, they don't want to hear about that. They don't want to know about it. They don't want people learning about it. Or even us observing it. The DOJ's January 6th case database was taken down last week while I was on vacation. Fortunately, I backed up the table of all the sentences before they disappeared it. You can find it here. Again, this is the 1984 thing, man. Making shit disappear. This man made copies. This is what needs to be done in these types of situations. But here's what happens eventually in authoritarian movements. Once it's scrubbed from public, anyone that has copies and dare post them, store them, whatever, and they know about it, they come and get it, they take that from you, they burn it. They need it to disappear totally from history. That's the main goal of Satan. And that's the vibe I got from the novel 1984. Satan was behind that mentality. We can torture you because we can. We feel like it. We can. That was the point of the book. No other reason. We can do it. Why not do it? Cold, man. Motherfucking cold. And that's what you people just made happen. Literal 1984. That's where it's going. That level of evil. That doesn't even make sense. So thank God people are keeping records and paying attention, because yes, just like this disappeared, one of many things, more will disappear. Here's someone that took part in that famous Charlottesville white supremacist rally. And this is an old post, but someone posted it again recently. Because it illustrates a point. It's reported that Teddy, I'll just call him Teddy, the torch-wielding man featured prominently in photos from the infamous 2017 Charlottesville white supremacist rally, committed suicide 2 weeks ago, the same day he was scheduled to go on trial for trafficking fentanyl from Mexico. Remember how big of a deal they made about fentanyl? Like it was just going to kill everybody? Well, one of the white supremacists at the rally that Donnie said, there were fine people on both sides, was literally trafficking fentanyl and offed himself to avoid responsibility for that. So many people in the movement are abject hypocrites as they put the talking points out, as they pretend they're about a real movement when they ain't nothing but a criminal. Over and over again I see this, with the MAGA thing especially. It's like a home for criminals and crooked people. Did you notice that? Did you notice how Donnie wants to make sure you are extra crooked before he hires you? I had a theory about another group of people that did that. Do you remember? That they were looking for someone extra crooked to be around the rock star. Similar situation here. Adolf Hitler was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize in 1939, right when he came to power. Maybe, like Time magazine or whoever put Donnie on the cover finally, like he wanted all his life. Maybe the Nobel Commission, whatever committee, whoever does that, maybe they saw the writing on the wall too. That this guy's an antichrist, a beast. We best pay tribute and let him have the Nobel Peace Prize, or nominate him at least. Because he wants that. And he wants that image. The man of peace. Just like Donnie. The reason I'm reading you this is because breaking Elon Musk nominated for Nobel Peace Prize. I don't know if that's true. I don't care if it's true. What I care about is that Adolf Hitler was nominated for the Peace Prize when people thought they needed to pay tribute, obviously. Because Hitler was no man of peace, son. Ever. Not for 1 second. And neither is Donnie. Yet they're calling him that. Interesting. They called Hitler that too. Fascinating, isn't it? Oh, this is Natalie Winters. She got War Room White House correspondent, and she's so good at the job. Journalism, writing, all that she spelled correspondent with one R. And she probably spelled it with one R because she looks a certain way. She fits a certain possible stereotype, if you will. Kind of that same way that press secretary or propaganda minister, as I like to call her, Caroline, looks. I'm sure Donnie's going to love her. I know why she's around. It ain't for her intellect, because she couldn't even spell the title of the job correctly in a post, where you have time to look at your post and make sure it's spelled correctly. And she's going to be a War Room White House correspondent. Gee, I wonder why Donnie wants her around. What do you think? Is it for her credentials and skills? You decide that. And just remember, before you decide that this girl couldn't spell her own job right. That's where we at. That's where we going. This right here, man. I got to light another one now. This right here. What have you people done? Just like in 1939, just like in Hitler's rise, they come out the woodwork. Hello, Sasquatch. Good to see you. Very good to see you. They get emboldened. They come out the woodwork. I can't believe there's this many Nazis left. What is so appealing about this ideology? I find nothing appealing about it. I don't want to goose step. I don't want to do Sieg Heils. I have no love for Hitler. He does not impress me in the least. He was a carnival barker with some intellect. That's it. It was all lies, all fraud, all hate, all evil, all war, all death. Like it's going to be here. You don't see the parallels? I read you the list a minute ago. The leaked document. The man had posted a picture of it. It has every group targeted for non-observance of their holidays. Every group they don't like. That is every group that is not white, male, and straight. Everyone else is on the fucking non-observance chopping block. What does that sound like? Nazism, literally white supremacy, white nationalism. That's what it sounds like. That very thing that Satan has attached himself to in the modern era. Every time. I don't even understand it. The people that are into this, I can't stand being around them for 3 fucking seconds. They've got nothing to offer me. No wisdom, nothing. I see right through this religion that is Nazism, though I am white. There is no appeal there. There's nothing good. There's nothing cool. So why are they into it? It doesn't make logical sense unless someone has attached themselves to it. Because it's almost as if it's supernatural. This, I don't even know what it's from. Let me just read the bottom. Father Calvin Robinson finished his remarks at the National Pro-Life Summit by throwing an Elon Musk salute, much to the delight of the crowd. Why are we calling it an Elon Musk salute? Why aren't we calling it a Nazi salute? Because that's what it fucking is, son. Anyway, this father, this priest, I listened to some of the video and he was spouting straight up MAGA talking points. He said, this is the last stand for Christianity. And America is the only place that is making that stand for Christianity. America is standing for life. In Europe, we're standing for death, where everywhere else is standing for death. Then he did the fucking Sieg Heil. Right up in the air, baby. He said a phrase over it to cover it up, which told me it was a Sieg Heil. You didn't fool me, Father. But you weren't really trying to fool anyone. You just said that phrase as you did the Sieg Heil to justify it in your mind. Because you know you're doing something horrible. I couldn't believe it. I started shaking when I saw it. That's a level of abomination, son, you don't even understand. The price he will pay for what he just did today. The offense to God as he wears the uniform of God, a representative of God. Did I show you the picture? The black, outfit with the white collar. So the Rubes take him seriously as a man of God. This man is inverting reality. God hates that. Damn near most of all, if not most of all. He's saying the literal opposite of what I'm saying. Did you notice that? I'm saying you have brought death to America and the world. And I promise you, it's coming. Promise you. This man is saying, you have brought life in America by making this MAGA thing, making Donnie happen again. I'm saying the literal opposite. I am also not throwing up Sieg Heils and Nazi salutes. Because I understand they're of the devil, son. And I have no interest in it. Never did. Don't appeal to me in the slightest. The uniforms. The douchebags put in authority that would have never been given authority anywhere else. Except for their sycophancy. And he's throwing up the Nazi salute and trying to cover it up as if it's an expression of love. Straight up inversion of reality. Dangerous fucking territory. Even more dangerous, son. Wearing the uniform of a representative of God. Calling good evil, evil good, death life, life death, and then throwing up one of the most evil salutes that represents one of the most evil regimes ever in the history of mankind. That was nothing but death for everyone involved. For those Hitler said were his enemies, death for them and death for him and his people as well. We saw it again. The Russians and the Americans went like that to your fucking movement, your religion, your fucking Antichrist. Shot himself like a bitch in a bunker because he knew the Russians would have passed him around like a biscuit. And this, again, this man, never forget this. This shook me to the core. This shook me so bad. Not for the reasons you think. You're probably thinking, oh, I'm afraid of the movement and what they're going to do and this person and what they're... No. No, son. I know the level of abomination this is. Especially dressed like that. Especially saying, you a man of the cloth. I know the bloody motherfucking wrath this thing is gonna face. And it scared me at the thought of it. Not you cunts in your movement. The wrath, the man gonna meet out on this entity. Ooh, I would not want to be him, man. Oof. I couldn't believe I saw it. Bob Menendez sentenced to 11 years in prison. Now, again, we can lock up, sentence, indict a Democrat senator, but we can't lock up an ex-Republican president. That's a bit of a double standard, I would say. Senator is in my opinion, the second highest position in the land. One senator can object to any bill and make it go away. That's the power they have. Almost more powerful than the president. That senator from New Jersey got indicted and he's about to be locked up and he got an over 10-year sentence. Now, how many other people in the Senate and Congress have literally taken much money from foreign governments, and we all know it. We've watched them take it. Why aren't they being indicted? Why was only Bobby able to be indicted? Donnie tried to overthrow the government, stole 3,000 classified documents. Much worse than what Bobby did. But we didn't lock him up. We let him run again. Menendez had to resign, face court, and now he's going to go to prison. Why is that okay, but we can't do that with Donnie? A bit of a double standard there. Wouldn't you say? And then Menendez, after I guess he got sentenced, was so pissed off, scared, desperate. He went full MAGA, a Democrat, Bob Menendez from New Jersey. I remember him, in the George Bush days. This man's a lifer, New Jersey senator. Didn't have to do whatever he was doing. I'm sure he's making plenty of money. Made the Democratic Party look bad. One of the few bad apples. Disgusting. Had to fuck up a good record they had lately. This guy had to fucking ruin it and be the example for the right wing to point out, oh, look at Bob Menendez. He took foreign money. They don't mind their people taking foreign money, though. They love it. Every bit of it. Never complain about that. But they all over Bob. And I don't give a fuck about Bob. If a Democrat breaks the fucking law and a judge says you broke the law and it's a legit case and they go to jail for it, oh fucking well, man. You made the choice. I don't care what party you belong to. I'm not you. I don't operate that way. So to see a lifelong Democrat, an establishment Democrat from New Jersey as a senator for so many years, sell what little bit of his soul he had left, and go full MAGA and basically beg Donnie for a pardon without saying it. Here we go. This is what he said. Bobby said outside court, President Trump was right. This process is political, and it's corrupted to the core. I hope President Trump cleans up the cesspool and restores the integrity to the system. Donnie is the cesspool. Adjudicated fraud, adjudicated defamer, adjudicated sexual assaulter, tried to overthrow the government, stole 3,000 classified documents, tried to extort Ukraine. I titled this video The Worst of the Worst for a reason. That's Donnie. So whenever we talk about criminal activity, well, a convicted felon is president and you people voted for him. So I guess you can't be mad at Bob, right, guys? Right, Rubes? You don't have any problems with convicted felons. You voted for one. The worst of the worst, actually. What have you done? So it's okay for Bob to go through this, and it was real sad to see Bob go full MAGA, hoping Donnie gives him a pardon. I wonder what Donnie's going to do. Hey, Bob, if you just come up with $2 million, guaranteed, man, like that. But I doubt Bob has $2 million anymore after legal fees, and maybe some money was. Oh, that's right, they took the money, the cash they found in his house. So unnecessary, people. And again, it's not a partisan thing for me. If a politician breaks the law and people catch him or her, and there are charges and they go to prison, I mean, what do I care if they're a Democrat or Republican? That's not what I'm about. I don't want criminals in government. I don't want grifters in government. I don't want convicted felons in government, honestly. A convicted felon shouldn't be allowed to run for president. Again, look at us all down here when we apply for a job. And they ask you, are you a convicted felon? And you check that box. You know what's going to happen. Yet you can run for president. Again, the elites get a pass on their no drug test. You get a drug test when you get a job, right? Donnie didn't. None of them do. Let's not even single out Donnie. None of them do. And, it's a protected status for elites. Oh, we don't have to go through those screenings. We have money. We can afford drugs. Not that Biden was on drugs. I could tell he's not that kind of guy. He's a straight-laced guy. He probably drank. He's Irish, for fuck's sake. But he could tell he wasn't a drug type of guy. He's old school. Believer in democracy. Believer in this country. And he got thrown under the bus. Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City. A major financial center. And here we go. Justice Department is said to discuss dropping case against Eric Adams. Donnie's Justice Department? What does that mean? That means Mr. Adams has gone full MAGA and he owes Donnie some big fucking favors, and he's in charge of a major financial center in his country. One of two: California, New York City. Now he's in Donnie's pocket if he gets him off on his case, which it looks like is going to happen because everyone's paying tribute, man. Haven't you noticed? Everybody. They know what it is, just like they knew what it was back in 1939 and nominated Hitler for the Nobel Peace Prize. So it's sad to see the mayor of New York City go MAGA, go full MAGA, and join the dark side. Not many allies left, man. This is getting pretty bleak. And every criminal, be they Democrat or Republican, when they get in trouble in politics, watch them turning to Donnie, turning to the beast. Mr. Menendez, Mr. Adams, and so many more. Mr. Fetterman, I've noticed. What a disappointment. I thought Mr. Fetterman was a tough guy. He's all like 6'7" and fucking big, this big man, right? Look at him now. Look at him fucking now. After all the support he got from people when they called him a vegetable and an idiot and all that. They must have threatened him in some way, or he's scared for his family or something. I don't know. Sad to see, though. See one after the other fall. See Democrats, 6, 7 Democrats at a time, voting to confirm these fucking psychopaths, sociopaths Donnie's putting before us for cabinet positions. Sad to watch, man. Anyway, what eventually ended up happening, I'll just read it. For those playing at home, the OMB memo was sort of rescinded and almost got the judge to force the whole thing to a case-by-case fight over specific cuts. That was the goal, turn it into a case-by-case fight, not a whole program that could just be paused as a program. They tried to pull a legal maneuver again to get their federal funding pause for all the states to stay in effect, despite a judge's ruling the day before, to pause their pause. Then the new press secretary decided to try and make it not look like a surrender, which caused the judge to continue the restraining order. You're doing great, Caroline. Exactly. When Caroline went out there and said, oh no, this isn't a loss for Donnie and the Nazi movement. We just changed the name, that's all. We're still going forward with, destroying the poor. Well, the judge said, thank you for that. Your statement just gave me grounds to allow this case to proceed. Well done. Because again, the MAGA facade is, we always win, no matter what. No, they don't. They mostly lose. They mostly lie, cheat, and steal. They mostly grift. This, I started shaking when I read this, son. Let me light another one. It don't matter, I'm deaf. It don't matter. Trump says U.S. will hold migrants at Guantanamo. I was wondering when the camps were going to start. All this facade of putting them on planes and trying to do it the nice way. Well, they didn't do it the nice way. They had them on military planes and like handcuffs and shit. So countries said, yeah, we don't want our people being returned and like that. We don't want military planes flying into our country either. That's not what we agreed to, son. So then Donnie, took them in regular planes and took the cuffs off. But a lot of countries still don't want certain people. So now they're going to be moved to Guantanamo. And I don't even need to read the excerpts from the article that I have, because I know the details. I'll just read you the Cuban government's response when I'm done speaking. Guantanamo Bay does not have enough room for 30,000 illegals. The worst of the worst, that Donnie calls them. It's also offshore and can't be monitored. Donnie says they're going to build more structures to house these people. You know, kind of like a concentration camp. As far as I'm concerned, this is the first concentration camp. The numbers Donnie is talking about have never been done before there. Before the trolls, rubes, bots, AI, etc. start spouting, other presidents use military bases to house illegals before. Yes, it's happened before. Out of desperation, nowhere else to put them. And all the other presidents, they use these facilities in a different way than Donnie does. Did you notice that? So those arguments are null and void, son. You're throwing those arguments at the wrong person. I see right through them. The number of detainees at Guantanamo and other places under prior presidents, Obama, you name it, were way less than 30,000. This has never been done before. This is new. 30,000 people labeled the worst of the worst. That's the only details we got. We didn't get any specific crimes. Are they rapists? Are they killers? What did they do? Why are they the worst of the worst? Again, the worst of the worst. Well, that's Donnie. Adjudicated fraud, convicted felon, adjudicated sexual assaulter, adjudicated defamer. If anybody should be going to Guantanamo for trying to overthrow the government and stealing 3,000 classified documents. If anyone should be going, I don't think it's these 30,000 illegals that should be going. I think it's Donnie himself that should be going. And I don't know how anyone couldn't agree with me. Yet he's the one sending them there. The irony. The irony. So when we say the worst of the worst, well, that's the guy you voted for, the convicted felon. He's the worst of the worst. He should be in a cell. But you don't want him in a cell. You want the worst of the worst that he labeled the worst of the worst in a cell. Again, I remind you of this piece of scripture that's just thrown into the apocalypse story right around this point we're in right now. He who is for captivity, into captivity he goes. So there's not enough room for these 30,000 people. They're going to build additional structures. What does it sound like to you? It's never been tried before. Never on this scale. As far as I'm concerned, it's the first concentration camp. I hope I'm wrong. I hope you people can tell me I'm wrong and prove it in the near future. If he implements this, I would consider it the first concentration camp of this new Nazi regime we're in. Another thing I have to say before I move on. Who gets to decide who the worst of the worst is? I could label you the worst of the worst. He could label anybody the worst of the worst and ship your ass right down to Guantanamo. A journalist, a Democratic congressman or senator, a lawyer he doesn't like, a judge he doesn't like, anyone. Slippery slope when you start labeling people the worst of the worst. And that's the only justification needed. Again, Hitler started with one group, the Jews. Then it expanded outward to gays, mentally handicapped, disabled, blacks, anybody that wasn't of the right blood. Just like this movement. One more time, go back to the list I read you in the beginning. All the targets for non-observance. My point is, again, other groups and people will be added to the worst of the worst, when the worst of the worst is the guy implementing the concentration camp idea. The convicted felon. The traitor to his country. If anyone should be in Guantanamo, the guy that tried to overthrow the government should be there, right? No, these 30,000 of the worst need to be there. One more time. He who is for captivity into captivity, he goes. In other words, maybe one day that'll be you. Maybe you Nick Fuentes and you half Mexican. Maybe you ain't pure enough for them. Maybe you get sent down there. That's what people don't think about when they're having fun and games on the internet, spouting propaganda that lines up with Nazi ideology when they're half Mexican. Then when it comes knocking on their door in the form of their blue check and their money getting taken away, they realize. But they still don't back down. They still keep going on the air and spouting the same talking points. They got their blue check mark taken away, not because they did something wrong in the eyes of the website. It's because you went against the narrative of the child king. That's all. That's all you did wrong. And that's one of their coveted stars of the movement. Wonder who finances him. Because doing all that for so many years might come back to bite them on the ass in this new Nazi movement, where they really only want white European males to be in charge, to be running shit, to be listened to make the decisions, to run everyone else's life again. We've seen this story way too many times with slavery, apartheid, all kinds of things. The Nazi movement in Germany. Here we are again in fucking 2025 as we have rockets going to space. Another fucking waste of money. Your money. 2025, all futuristic and shit. Yet again, we have this religion from fucking 90 years ago. where, you know, white supremacy and we hate everybody. And if the world ain't, you know, only putting the white perspective out there, and anything that makes white people look bad from the past we get rid of, and any kind of rights for anybody else, we don't want to hear about that. What the fuck are we doing? Why are priests throwing up Sikh Heils 80 years or whatever after Hitler's death? Why is an oligarch daddy's boy basing his entire existence on a fucking novel a Nazi wrote? And you people take this all seriously. What the fuck is wrong with you? It's nothing but a joke, and it's nothing but evil, and it's nothing but of Satan. That's simple. This is how the Cuban government feels. Because that's where Guantanamo Bay is. The U.S. has leased Guantanamo from Cuba for more than a century. Cuba opposes the lease and typically rejects the nominal U.S. rent payments. Government officials criticized the news Wednesday. President Miguel Diaz-Canel deeming the decision an act of brutality on X and described the base as located in illegally occupied Cuban territory. Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez said on X, the U.S. government's decision to imprison migrants at the Guantanamo Naval Base in an enclave where it created torture and indefinite detention centers shows contempt for the human condition and international law. The human condition, indeed, international law, indeed, but just what does it really say? Well, it says this is starting to feel concentration campy here. And this is a camp off U.S. soil where no one can see. Again, as far as I'm concerned, this is the first concentration camp of this new Nazi movement. There's no other way to describe it anymore. I've tried to give it the benefit of the doubt, but when I read a list of non-observance, which has every holiday that applies to every minority and women as well, and none of the celebrate a white guy holidays are gone, those observances are fine. This is horrifying. And the threats by Eric Trump, the stupid little boy opening his mouth on behalf of his daddy without permission, giving the whole game away. That list I read to you earlier gives the whole game away. These are the things you look for when determining what the agenda is and whether you should support it or not. You should also look for, hey, a real simple sign of time to walk away is when the richest man in the world, who has an office, you know, a few feet away from Donnie, is throwing up the Sikh Heil in front of the entire world. Then it's time to walk away. It was time to walk away back in 2015. Donnie revealed himself as a maniac. But man, if you saw that Sikh Heil and you said, you know what? Let me just stick with it. I don't know what to tell you, son. I don't know what to tell you. Well, Zuckerberg paying more tribute. I knew they would go after this kid the most. He's the most scared. He's the youngest. I knew he'd be the first to be bled dry. Meta to pay $25 million settlement for shutting his accounts after January 6th. Whose accounts? Donnie's accounts. You shut my accounts down. You owe me 22 or 25 million. Wow. I see a whole bunch of other people get shut down every day. I was shut down twice on Facebook. I didn't get a $25 million settlement. And unlike Donnie, or excuse me, unlike me, they had legitimate reason to shut down. Donnie was inciting insurrection. For fuck's sake. As much as I despise the websites, um, that decision to take his accounts down while he's trying to incite insurrection was legitimate. I'm sorry. That's a real reason to take an account down, in my opinion. The reasons they used for me were that was just straight up censorship based on the wishes of some mobsters that Mr. Cornell got involved with, unfortunately, for him and us. So Zuck is offering up $25 million and he wasn't about to lose a case. It's just more tribute because Zuck is scared, man. And it's kind of ironic. All these people shut me down and they laughed about it. And they cost me a lot of money, reputation, and a whole career I could have had easily. It would have blown up. It did blow up. So they all smugly shut me down and laughed. As the guy with no clout and money suffered. Look at you all now. Just like I said. Just like I told you would happen. All of you running scared, hoping you're not the one. That Donnie just takes your entire business and your life and your freedom. Quite the irony, isn't it, guys? I know you thought it was so funny. And you thought this guy was just some disgruntled jerk-off saying a bunch of shit. Look at you now. Don't ever doubt what I represent. It'll cost you. Don't ever doubt who I work for. It'll cost you, son. Everything. A pardoned January 6th rioter who paraded Nancy Pelosi's broken office sign has been sentenced to 17 years in prison for a deadly DUI crash. I won't say her name. What's the point? They're all automatons for Satan. A Missouri woman who was among 1,500 pardoned by Trump last week drove on Interstate 44 for several miles going the wrong way in January 2022 with a blood and alcohol concentration of 0.125. She crashed into another car belonging to a Franklin County couple. The couple just left dinner celebrating their 15th wedding anniversary. The wife died and the husband got serious injuries. So again, the MAGA mentality, the Rube mentality, the drink and drive, fuck it, I love Donnie shitbags. Oh, let me go to the Capitol and help Donnie overthrow the government, help install him as a dictator. That's where it gets you, man. These kinds of people, so many of you are these kinds of people. And these kinds of people got a pardon. Good thing they had other cases, huh? A few of them. I've found about 5 so far. I'm sure there's plenty more that have other cases and are going to stay in jail anyway. I'm sure there'll be more of these as the days. I'm reading these for a reason. After we get to about the 300th one, maybe you'll see the point. Ron Filipowski makes the point Republicans are working hard in D.C. for you, and that's sarcasm, of course. Rep. Anna Paulina Luna introduces bill to add President Trump's face to Mount Rushmore. Right, Donnie's earned that. He only tried to overthrow the government, stole classified documents, gave info to our enemies, all kinds of things. He's a convicted felon. Adjudicated sexual assaulter, adjudicated defamer, adjudicated fraud. So yeah, let's put him on Rushmore. Right, Rubes? Right. Not dystopian at all, not dictatorial at all, not Nazi at all, not Hitler-esque at all. Uh, Whatever. You guys love it. Let's see how much you love it as it plays out and comes to your door. A 3-year-old, his mother and his grandmother were speaking Spanish while shopping at a department store in Milwaukee. They're U.S. citizens from Puerto Rico, but were taken by ICE. And there's an article here from telemundopr.com. I did not read it. I don't need to, because I've already seen these things happening. I discussed the video of the 2 Puerto Rican men that work in a restaurant. They're citizens. They weren't illegals. Yet they got the papers, please treatment because they look Latin. Just like these people. These people actually got taken because they look Latin, even though they were citizens. This is going to happen more and more. And now we got a great new concentration camp opening up in Guantanamo. They're going to build new buildings for it and everything. 30,000 people. Just with the label worst of the worst. Who knows if they actually are. Because, hey, in America, the worst of the worst could run for president. And be president. And then call other people the worst of the worst. And lock them up in a concentration camp. For all you MAGA folks who say you hate neocons, George W. Bush had 780 detainees at Guantanamo. Donald Trump is promising a concentration camp of 30,000. But sure, go ahead and tell me how you're all about freedom and smaller government. George W. Bush, one of the worst, right? He got called torturer and he took all the heat for Guantanamo. 780. Not even 1,000. Donnie wants 30,000. What's he going to use them 30,000 for? I wonder. So now you see the comparison from Donnie to another neocon or someone you describe as a neocon. Wow, them neocons were horrible. 780. Donnie 30,000. Do you see? It's a great illustration of the level of beast we are motherfucking dealing with. 780 as opposed to 30,000. George W. Bush, 780, as opposed to Donnie, 30,000. Oh my God. Proves my point in a way. Because again, I don't think people realize the gravity. People in my own life don't realize the gravity. They hear the words. They hear what is said. They see what is happening. But they don't see the gravity. They don't understand it like I do. Again, I'm posting 20, 30 times a day, not video, posts. I'm on video now for 2 hours when I'm dead fucking tired, day after day. Why do you think I'm doing this? Because where this is going, son, is a place people can't even fathom. But that right there, the 780 number, verse 30,000, is a perfect illustration for what I'm saying. The level of beast we're dealing with. And I guess I'll end with this. Because we can't have propaganda without it going at the children. And I know you rubes talked about liberal propaganda going at your children for decades, as if it was an issue. Vlad gave it to you. That's all it was. It's part of the right-wing grift / terror machine to defund public schools and give that tax money to private schools, their buddies own. That's all that was. The demonization of teachers, etc. That's all that was. A privatization scheme, which you're going to see a lot more of, that model in right-wing grift land with Donnie and his people. Let's talk about the real propaganda for a moment. What TikTok did to all your children just the other week or two ago. They put out several messages on the screen. They took away your child's favorite toy. And they said, don't worry, we're going to work with Donnie Shitbags to get it back for you little children. He promises. And then they flipped the switch back on and they put the message in front of your children that you claim to care about. When you mentioned all that liberal ideology being pumped at them for Vlad, and for the privatization school people that want your tax money. You you basically allowed the worst propaganda possible into your children's head. So now the kid has his favorite toy back. And the credit is given to Donnie Shitbags. Whether you love him or not, whether you like him, don't like him, voted for him, didn't vote for him, that propaganda is in your child's head just like Hitler would have done. Hitler would have been proud with that one, man. Right into your kid's mind the second they went on the website. They made sure everybody saw it. Look, kids, Donnie loves you. He got your favorite toy back. Your parents didn't do that. Uncle Donnie did. Dangerous propaganda, son. You cared about all that liberal stuff. You don't care about the 1984 stuff, though. The real dangerous shit, man. They pulled a beautiful move on that one. I was even impressed with that level of propaganda and how they got it right into your kids' heads, and you all let it happen by not wanting this website banned, that TikTok website. So here we go. Trump's new executive order threatening K-12 teachers sounds very North Korean, stating that they must teach patriotic education. Does this mean kids won't learn about the slave trade or Native Americans? Of course that's what it means. That's what patriotic education, that's a code word. The word patriot has been hijacked, and patriotic has been hijacked by a white supremacist movement. Now they want patriotic education taught in schools. They'll find out anyway unless Trump censors the internet, and then they'll blame adults for lying to them. Let's read some of the bullet points. There's only a few, and then I'll be out of here. Patriotic education means a presentation of the history of America grounded in an accurate, honest, unifying, inspiring, and ennobling characterization of America's founding and foundational principles. A clear examination of how the United States has admirably grown closer to its noble principles throughout its history. Really, have we? We have a Nazi movement in charge of our government right now. This is the proof of it, what I'm reading you. The concept that commitment to America's aspirations is beneficial and justified. The concept that celebration of America's greatness and history is proper. That's just some of the guidelines to the patriotic education curriculum. Again, doesn't sound dystopian at all, right? Doesn't sound Hitler-esque at all. What the fuck have you rubes done, man? I tried to warn you. 1,000 other people tried to warn you. You knew better. You thought you were the wise one. Well, I wonder what a few years of patriotic education will do. You know, where we cut out slavery, we cut out the slaughter of the Native Americans, we cut out anything that it remotely makes white male Europeans look bad. We cut out any rights for women, any talk of that, any talk of rights for gay people, any talk of rights for minorities, what the African Americans had to go through when they were fighting for their rights after slavery, how they were treated then. the lynchings, etc. The fact that half of our country at one point in history just cared about their profits on their slave plantations and didn't want to lose those, and they got the rubes to fight an entire war and be traitors to their country for it. Well, now we have some new traitors called Nazis, and they ain't hiding it. They got the C. Kyles, they got the blonde-haired women, blue-eyed, blonde-haired women in all kind of key positions that have no business being there. They're just willing to lie and be sycophants. They're just willing to bat their eyelashes at Donnie. We've got a concentration camp about to happen if he implements it. Numbers we've never seen at that place. And the only specificity we get is the worst of the worst. Well, Donnie's the worst of the worst, so why isn't he there? Oh, that's right. That's not really what it's about. It's about getting rid of brown-skinned immigrant people. It's about persecuting minorities, about persecuting women, persecuting people of alternative lifestyles. It's about persecuting people we don't like. And it even has the Nazi salutes. You just saw a priest give a Nazi salute. And people cheered. If that doesn't wake you up, man, let me tell you something that's going to wake you up in the future if you don't turn away. The might and wrath of the man. You don't want that in your life. You don't want the wrath of the man in your life. Turn away now. Don't be part of the modern Nazi movement, for fuck's sake. I can't believe I even have to say this in 2025, the year of our Lord. Our country is about to change. It's about to go to a fucking terrible place, and it's kind of almost there already. The pace, the speed, the abject Nazi agenda, I'm even stunned by it. Turn away now. You don't want to face what you're gonna face if you keep walking this path. Until the next episode of The Apocalypse, have a wonderful day.